how about we ask you about suffering? And you talk a lot about needless suffering, and you could have easily had a whole life of needless suffering after what happened.
Yeah.
In a utopia, is suffering necessary?
Not at all.
Okay, so how do we get to, we talk about how we do the 1 billion happy. If that can become 2 billion happy, we can have artificial general intelligence that it looks at civilization and learns, and there we go, we're good, we treat each other well. Then if we get to this point of utopia, lots of people talk about suffering being so valuable to learn from.
That's absolute crap.
Let's, unpack that.
Absolute crap. I need to go back. I promise I'll come back to the difference between pain and suffering. If I don't, please ask me. But I need you to understand what suffering is, right? So I struggled with the idea. I was very happy at age 23. I became very unhappy at age 29. At age 29, I was a director, a day trader. I was making a ton of money. I was so wealthy, so blessed in every way. And I was clinically depressed. I was miserable. And I started to say to myself as an engineer, let's define happiness. Let's define what that thing is that I'm searching for so that at least I can find it, right? And I did it in the most unusual way. I took as many data points as I could of moments in my life where I felt happy. I plotted them on charts, trying to find a trend line between them. That trend line that approximates all of the points in my life I felt happy is the happiness equation. Now, there is one common thing across every moment in your life you've ever felt happy, right? One common thing across all of the moments in your life you felt unhappy. It has nothing to do with the absolute event of your life. So really interestingly, every moment in your life where you've ever felt happy was a moment where life seemed to be going your way. It's as simple as that, right? You sit in this room, your brain immediately compares the event to its expectations of what is a safe model for your survival. It starts to think, okay, this room is a little too cold. We're going to be here for 2 hours. Is this okay? Right? That truly is what unhappiness is. So believe it or not, happiness, there is an equation. Happiness is equal to or greater than the difference between the events of your life and your expectation of how life should behave. Every single event that crosses your path, your brain solves to see if it meets its expectations or misses its expectations, right? And that gives you a few very interesting definitions of what happiness is. One is happiness is not fun. It's different. Going up, jumping up and down and dancing in a party, that's not happiness. Happiness is that peaceful feeling you get when you're okay with life as it is.
Equanimity.
Yeah, it's basically, you all have friends and partners and people in your life, right? You can look at your partner and I can guarantee you'll find a few things that are amazing and a few things that perhaps you would have liked to change, right? If you look at the things that you would like to change, you're going to be unhappy in that relationship, right? If you look at them in totality and say, look, as they are, I'm okay. I don't want to be any other place. When you find that moment, you found happiness. Rain, for example, doesn't make you happy or unhappy. Rain has no intrinsic value of happiness. If you're a farmer and you want to water your plants, rain makes you happy, right? If we're going through a drought and we want to make sure we stop the fires, rain makes us unhappy, makes us happy. If you want a suntan and it rains, you feel unhappy. Rain has no value of happiness. It's just the comparison between rain and what you want life to be.
These expectations and then these...
So it's events minus expectations, events minus expectations. Now that throws a very interesting definition of unhappiness. Unhappiness in that case is just a survival mechanism. It's a survival mechanism. It's your brain looking at the world around it. If it finds that the world matches its expectations, it does something amazing, it shuts the fuck up, right? When it shuts up, your default setting as a child is happy, right? The problem is, if your brain realizes that this does not match my expectations, it alerts you. What does it alert you in the form of? It alerts you in the form of emotional pain. Emotional pain is, I'm worried about the exam tomorrow. That worry is what triggers me to get up and study. I regret that I said something rude to my friend, that regret makes me call and make amends, right? Now, emotional pain is useful. Unhappiness isn't.